So this is a story called Escape. It's by Brenda Jacobson, and it's in a book written by Don Jacobson called It's a God Thing When Miracles Happen to Everyday People. It is easy to love London. All that history, those theaters, the shops, and those winding lanes that weave their way back through time. It just seems magical. So when my son, Blair, graduated from high school and signed up for a term of study in England, I knew I wanted to accompany him on the trip over. Like any mother, I was going to miss him, and I wanted to be able to picture him more clearly in the months he was away. And what better place than London to create some lasting memories with him? We wandered around Oxford and stood and stared at Stonehenge. We were amazed in the British Museum and goofed off outside Buckingham Palace. And then, on one of those rare but perfect English fall days, Blair got to do what he wanted to do most of all: find a secluded spot in a park and get lost in a great book. That is how we ended up in Hyde Park. "Are you sure you're okay?" I asked Blair. "Mom, I'm fine," he said. "You're about to leave me in England for a whole semester. I think I can handle a couple of hours by myself." "Just as long as you're sure. I'll meet you back here then, okay?" "Okay, bye, Mom." I watched Blair walk away, book under his arm, so full of confidence. How did he grow up so fast? Where did my baby boy go? And how was I going to handle saying goodbye in a few days when I left him at school? It was such a beautiful day that there seemed no point in feeling sad, so I decided to take a tip from Blair and find a secluded spot of my own, complete with gently rustling bushes and a peaceful bench where I lay down, praying for him and soaking up the sun as well. Only a few minutes had passed when a completely unrelated thought forced its way to the front of my mind. "Open your eyes." I did exactly that, and as I blinked away the sunshine, I immediately noticed a man walking across the hill directly toward me. He was tall and slender, dressed in muted colors that made him blend into the surroundings. He was about 75 feet away, and even though he was looking down, I had the sense that he was really troubled by something. His demeanor was a stark contrast to the serenity of the location, but that was not what bothered me. It was the 3-foot length of bright red rope that he was holding. Each end was wound around his hands. What possible use could he have for the rope? As quickly as this question entered my mind, I knew the answer. I looked to my side and noticed the bushes again. This time they did not look peaceful and inviting. If I was forced in there, nobody would be able to see or hear me. Whatever he was planning on doing, it wasn't good. The man moved closer, now about 50 feet away, and another thought came to me. Get up and walk quickly down the hill. I did not feel any anxiety or panic or have sweaty palms or rapid breathing, nothing to indicate fear. I was simply calm as I obeyed these mental prompts. As I stepped away from the bench, I glanced over my shoulder. My movement startled the man, and he looked up. For just a moment, my eyes met his. They were chilling. Still, I felt no urge to panic, no impulse to run. I was just determined that I was not getting caught by him. I was going to get away. I walked quickly for a minute and then looked back to see if he was following me. I couldn't see him anywhere, but what did that mean? Had he given up and gone away? Or was he hiding somewhere else, waiting for a better time and place to grab me? I kept walking, projecting confidence just as those safety films tell you to do, and made my way to the place where Blair and I had agreed to meet. I arrived and checked my watch. Not much time had passed since we said goodbye, and Blair would not arrive for another hour and a half. I really did not feel safe alone, so I headed straight back to the hotel. I was finished being an explorer for the day. Our final days of the trip passed without incident, and I dropped Blair off at Capernwray. I flew home to Oregon, feeling the grief that visits every mother who leaves her child halfway around the world, completely beyond her protection. I found it easy to put the incident at the park out of my mind, but it came flooding back the moment I received a phone call from my friend Sherry Rose just a day or so after arriving home. She got straight to the point. "Brenda, what happened to you while you were in England?" "What do you mean?" I said, thinking of all the possible ways there were of answering her question. Last Wednesday, the Lord woke me up to pray for you because you were about to be murdered. I was stunned. We talked a little more and did the time calculations between the West Coast and England. It quickly became perfectly clear. God had awakened Sherry Rose at the exact moment I was alone in Hyde Park, lying on a secluded bench while a man with a rope in his hands walked toward me. Could it be any clearer that God was protecting me? Although all this happened a few years ago, I often think back to it. What I remember is not so much the man or the rope or the fear or what might have happened. What I remember is how God protected me. I know that those words I heard were His voice, carried to me through the prayers of a friend. Isn't that amazing? I mean, that is just amazing.